Okay, so the car has been dynoed. It made 323 horsepower and 400 newton meters of torque. So you can see the torque's pretty much flat line, which is what you would expect. And if you convert that into foot-pounds, it's around 290. So usually with these LSs, the torque and the horsepower is pretty much the same. So if you make 300 horsepower, you make 300 foot-pound of torque, more or less. So that's pretty much what you want. Now, horsepower is probably not as high as I was expecting it to be, but it's also an auto, so I guess I didn't really think about how much the auto box absorbs. I was just going off kind of like what my mates were, but they're all manuals, so they're about 365, 370 horsepower on a similar sort of cam setup. So I guess this does kind of make sense. I guess the auto absorbs about 50 horsepower. But in saying that, shift times on an auto is going to be a lot quicker. It's a light car, so fingers crossed anyway we make good quarter mile times. Now, when it was on the dyno, Mick, the dyno guy, said that it was only getting third gear, and it was getting second, but only manually. So you can manually select second with the shifter, but it wasn't getting first, wasn't automatically shifting into second, and wasn't getting any fourth. So if you skip back to episode 8 when I was doing the wiring, you would have seen that I had one pink wire left, and I didn't know what it was. Well, I think I know what it is now. So I've got the Envious Customs ELM Street, and I've brought up commanded gear. So you can see the commanded gear is in third gear. Probably would have been better if I didn't have this on a dial, a bit weird. Anyway, if I cycle through the gears, we'll go back to first. You can see we're still in third. So it's only getting third gear. Now, if you look at the foil 60 gearbox, there's two solenoids, solenoid A and B. When both solenoids are open circuit, that's third gear. So if you've got no power to the gearbox, it'll show third and third only. It's kind of like a fail-safe, so you can sort of still get home, and you can manually select second. I'm guessing so, like you can take off up a hill or something like that. So yeah, I don't have any power going to the gearbox, so I'm guessing that pink wire is my power wire. So let's get up on the hoist, do some continuity checks and suss it out. Okie dokie. So we have taken the connector out of the gearbox, which was quite a pain in the ass. So here's the connector here, and we found the power, which is the lower right pin here, pin E. So we continually check that to the remaining wires we have left in the car, which was a pink and brown wire. We still got another pink wire, which pink and blue it was, sorry. We still got another solid pink wire. We don't actually know what it's for yet, so we're going to continue to check all the wires on the range sensor, because I've still got a range sensor fault as well. And then once we do that, we can wire it all up, and fingers crossed we get gears. So I'm glad we got that. And while I'm under here on the hoist, I'll just give you a bit of a rundown of the car. So we'll start at the back and we'll work our way towards the front. So I've got the exhaust, so we've got a dumpy tip, which is already starting to melt my bar, as you can see. I'm pretty sure that's from the dyno, because it's like pretty close to like a exhaust outlet, so it'll sort of back pressure a bit and melt it. But the exhaust is very nice. See the welds all V-banded. It's very close to everything pretty much, but doesn't hit. So it comes through the sway bar. Pretty close to the drive shaft, but again, doesn't hit. It's probably about 10 to 12 mil clearance. And then we got a flexi joint here, just due to, you know, manifolds moving at different temperatures and stuff. So that's good there. And then they're both V-band onto the manifolds. So he's done this sort of V-band here. So he said, look, if you get different manifolds later on, you go turboed, you go whatever, and you need a different exhaust, we can just lop it off here, go full 3-inch, or just change it up so the rest of the system can stay how it is. And depending on what I do later on with the turbo and stuff like that, we can just lop it off here and rejoin it on. So it doesn't need a new exhaust, it just needs new front pipes pretty much. So that's pretty good. So under here you can see the engine and the mounting. So these are IKEA Formula tie rods. Got roll center ball joints, extended lower control arms, got cut knuckles. So this used to be drift car, so it's got a lot of lock and yeah, a few drift car-y mods. You can see the clearance in the exhaust there, very minimal, but this is solid mounted, so nothing moves. Nothing is hitting, but it's just all very, very close. But better than the alternative. You can see the sump here. Sump clearance is, again, very minimal. Nothing hits though. It's kind of a bit hard to get a good view of it, but it's kind of the best I can do. So you can see the radiator mounting. You can see my trans lines here. So they P-clamp under here, don't rub on anything, and then come under to the cooler. This is my alternator harness. I need to get some P-clamps and just run them off these two bolts here to P-clamp it up there. So that'll be, or like some ladder clips. So I'll get some of those. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the underside. So now we'll just power up those gearbox wires so we can get this auto working as it should. Sweet. Okay, so I've got it crudely powered up with a battery to that wire. And you can see on my scanner here, we've got commanded gear, vehicle speed, coolant temp, RPM. So I'll just chuck it into first. See, we're starting to drive. I'm up on the hoist so I can drive it stationary. Whoop, handbrake's on. So give it some revs. So first, see we're in first. Chuck it into second. We're now getting second gear. Into third. And we got third. And drive. And we're in fourth. Don't want to go too fast on the hoist. I'll go up to 85 just then. It's a bit scary. Okay, so that's good. We got our gears. Awesome. Now we still got, well we had an active code for the range switch. So we'll see if we still got it. So we still got the transmission range sensor circuit performance. The map one, we don't have a MAF, so that's all right. We don't have a purge, we don't have an oil pressure switch. I've got an aftermarket oil pressure switch, so I'll clear those and we'll read them again. Alright, so we're still getting that range switch P0705. Not sure what that's all about, but it seems to be driving okay, so I don't have the inhibitor or anything of that wiring hooked up, so it could be that. But I seem to be getting commanded gear, so I can't see. I mean, the ECM obviously knows what gear it's in, which is what it needs. It's getting vehicle speed, it's getting trans temp, it's getting all its crucial sensor inputs, so I can't see that being a problem. I think it's just be one of the wires that it haven't hooked up. I still got that one pink wire that I don't know what it's for. It could be for that. But yeah, man, I mean, it appears to be working. So if anyone knows what's to do with, hit us up. And yeah, but other than that, she's all working. Sweet. Okay, so the power for the gearbox is obviously all done now. So now I've got the torque converter lockup to do. Now that runs off the brake switch. So when you put your foot on the brake, it unlocks the converter if it's in a lock state. But it actually works backwards to what you would think. So it has 12 volts constant on the brake switch wire coming out of the PCM all the time, and then when you put your foot on the brake, it opens circuits. So currently how I had it disconnected, it was always open circuit, so the converter would never lock. So I spliced into the brake switch wire. Obviously you got constant power on one side of the switch, 2-pin switch, and then the outlet of the switch. So I've punched into the outlet, then I've ran that wire along there and into this relay. So this is a changeover relay. So one port on the switch side of the relay is normally open and one's normally closed. So it's normally closed. So at the moment I've got it. I've got from this, the brown one here is from the PCM, and the black one is ignition power. So what happens is when you apply the brakes, when the brakes are not applied, ignition power will go straight from ignition power out and power the relay. And then when you apply the brakes and it provides power to the coil in the relay, it'll actually open that circuit. So yeah, so this is a changeover relay, so a 5-port relay. Just make sure you get the one that has a closed circuit on one and open on the other. Okie dokie, so I just need to mount that. Now I just got this green wire here, which is my reverse. And the reverse is this green one here. I've confirmed that by checking power, and indeed do get power on this wire when I'm in reverse. So that's all good, which confirms that my shifter position switch on the gearbox is obviously working. So I'm not sure what that error code is from. So I just got to connect that, and then we're cooking with gas. Just a matter of mounting the PCM and cleaning up the wires under here. But all looking good.